Hello class. All right, so we are going to be spending more time working with double number lines today. And so we have an activity, grocery shopping. And so this is something you might have been familiar with. Go to a store and it says it's going to cost a certain amount of money for a certain amount of the item that you want. Okay, but you might want more than what they say in the advertisement. So in this case here, they can tell you that 8 avocados cost $4. Okay, but what happens if you wanted to get more? If you wanted a different amount, you want to see how much you would owe in that case. So with the double number line, you can see here I went ahead and set up this double number line here. I went ahead and made the straight lines and then I labeled them, right? So it's important that you recognize the two things that are involved in this problem. You have avocados and then you have money, right? So I use a dollar sign for money and then an A for avocados. So what they give us is that 8 avocados cost $4. So we want to go ahead and put that on the double number line. So I suggest just putting that somewhere kind of in the middle so you have space on either side to be able to add other tick marks. So we'll put these down here and then we're going to label these. So the money part of this, well, that's going to be $4. So let's go ahead and put $4 here. All right. And then for the avocados, that gets you 8 avocados. So we're going to put an 8 here. And move that up just a little bit. Okay, so 4 and 8 are aligned. They go together, right? So then the idea is to take a look at the other items here and see what they're getting at and see if we can figure out that. So they want to know how much do 16 avocados cost? Well, we need to go ahead and put 16 on the avocado line. So let's go ahead and add in another tick mark for that. Let's come down here and let's add in for 16, right? That's a mark right there. 16 is going to be, it's bigger than 8, so it's going to be to the right on our line. Okay, so 16 is there. And then we need another tick mark for the money. And we're going to have to figure out what's going to go there, right? So let's take a look at what happens to the avocado number line. If you look here, you can see that we are making a little jump from 8 to 16. Now, how do we jump from 8 to 16? Well, we're actually always going to be multiplying here. In this case, it's going to be multiplying times 2. So what that means is we need to do the same thing on this number line. Okay, we need to do this times 2. All right, so what's 4 times 2? Well, 4 times 2 is 8. So we can go ahead and drop in a box here and call that 8. Okay, and maybe I'll give this a background so it doesn't get blocked out there. Okay, so we know then that 16 avocados would be $8. We can go ahead and add that in here. It's going to be $8. Okay, and then make the background not be white anymore. All right, so we have that. Now we want to know about 20 avocados. So here's the avocados number line. We need to find 20. So 20 is going to be to the right, so we need another tick mark for that. We can add it on here. All right, that's going to be 20. So we want to see how much 20 costs. And so again, we want to compare what's happening here. So let's see, to go from 16 to 20, if we multiply by something, that's going to involve a decimal or a fraction. That's going to be tricky, right? And same thing with 8. Okay, it could be a little bit tricky, right? So what you're going to learn is that we want to find another value on the number line here that we can easily move between. So if we take 8 and if we find half of that, that's going to give us 4. And then 4 is helpful because it's going to be easy to multiply by a number to get from 4 to 20. So we can just go ahead and label this 4 for the time being. And then now we can look and see about making this jump here from 4 all the way to 20. That's going to be times 5, right? So then what we're going to need is we're going to need another tick mark up here. I forgot to put that earlier. We need that there, and we need to figure out how we're going to get there. Okay, well, we're multiplying from this mark here, which means we need to know what goes here as well. So we're going to need to put a tick mark in here and figure out what goes there. So let's see what we did here. What can we do here? Let's see, we did from 8 to 4, we just cut it in half, right? We divided it by 2. So we're going to do the same thing with 4. We're going to divide that by 2. And half of 4 is 2. All right, so that means we're going to go ahead and we're going to make the jump from here. I'm going to go through all the way around and then down to here. How do we go from 4 to 20 by doing times 5? We've got to do the same thing here. We've got to do times 5. Okay, so it's going to be 2 times 5, and 2 times 5, we know that one. That one's going to be not 100. It's going to be 10. So there we have it. So that means that 20 avocados are going to cost $10. Okay, so we'll add that in here. Now, you may be thinking that there was another way that you could have gone about figuring this out, right? And you are correct. Okay, and as it turns out, this other way is going to help you to solve question C here. How much do 9 avocados cost, right? 9 is going to be really, really tricky unless we actually do what we did in our last activity, which was find the number of avocados, the amount of money you're going to pay for 1 avocado, right? So if we want to know about 9 avocados, let's find out how much 1 avocado costs. That's going to be your trick, because 9 is going to be in here, and it's going to be really tricky to make that jump from any of our choices here. We all have even numbers here, and so to go from 9 to 20 is going to be really tricky. But the trick of the trade here is to be able to find out what 1 avocado costs. So we need to add in the value for 1 avocado and see what that costs. Okay, so that up a little bit there. Okay, so how much does 1 avocado cost? Well, again, you're moving along the number line from place to place. Let me actually move this in. And so you want to see, how do we go from one place on the number line to another? So if we look at here, if we go from 4 to 1, we would have to end up dividing by 4, right? You could also multiply by 1/4. This is the same thing as dividing by 4. So to go from 2 to this new tick mark, we're going to need to know, we're going to need to divide by 4, right? It's going to need to be 2 divided by 4. And 2 divided by 4, we're talking about, it's really the same thing as 1/2. Right? So we can just call this 1/2. Okay? How much is 1/2 when we're talking about money? 1/2, it's 1/2 of $1. So 1/2 of $1 would actually be 50 cents. So we'll actually call that 50 cents. Okay? So with 50 cents, that means that we can use that to figure out what 9 is, because, I guess I should have mentioned this earlier, if we know what 8 costs, and then we know what 1 more costs, we can add the cost of 1 more onto whatever 8 costs. So we already said that 8 avocados cost $4. So we're going to get 1 more avocado, right? Instead of 8, we're going to get 1 more. So the price of 1 more, it's 50 cents. So it's going to be the $4 plus the 50 cents. So that's $4.50. So we can add that in here, $4.50. All right, so you can see here we have more activities that can involve the double number line. I'm going to go ahead and erase some of this here so we have some space to work with to make a new double number line. And I should mention as well that if you're having a difficult time using the tools here for the double number line, there is a manipulative available, and we'll go ahead and click on that now and I'll show you. So for this one, you're going to have to scroll down and find the number line here, and you just type in the quantity. Okay, we can just put in the letter B and maybe $sign for money, right? And if you change the number of tick marks, you just drag this to get more tick marks. You can see on this one here, you can see we still have 1 as our endpoint because this is at 1. And so the more tick marks you get, the more marks you're going to get in between 0 and 1. Now, if you change this one here, you can see how it changes there, right? And they work their way up there. So you can go all the way up to 15 here, and then with this, you can add in even more. And it gets pretty busy. So if you want to play around with this, it's a good thing to play around with. But you're not always going to have access to it, so it's good to know how to make a double number line. Okay, so let's look at our number 2. 12 large bottles of water costs $9. Okay, so we're going to need to make 2 lines, a double number line. Here's one, and here's another, and we need to label them, right? So what are our 2 things that are involved here? Bottles of water. We'll call it, I'll call it bottles. Let's call it B for bottles, but if you wanted to put a W, that's fine as well. And then the cost, the money. So the other line needs to involve money. It does not matter which line you put on the top or the bottom. It makes no difference. You just need to make sure that both of the items being discussed are included. They have their own number line, right? So with bottles and money, let's see, we know that 12 bottles cost $9. Let's put 12 bottles here on the number line. I'll put it somewhere in the middle, and we'll call it 12. Okay, 12 bottles cost $9. So we need a mark on the dollar sign, and we need to come in and add in $9 here. Okay, so that's what they give us, and then we need to make up the rest. So how many bottles can you buy for $3? Well, let's put a mark on the money line for $3. And then we need to put another mark on the other line for bottles and then figure out what's going to go there. So we are talking about making a jump. We're going from 9 back to 3, right? So you could either multiply or divide. Okay, if you were going to divide, it's dividing by 3. That's the same thing as multiplying by 1/3. Either way, so if we divide by 3, then we need to divide by 3 here as well. So same thing on both sides. This is dividing by 3. So this one has to be dividing by 3 as well. So what is 12 divided by 3? It's 4. Okay, so we know then that this is going to be $4. That's how much you can buy for, that's how much you're going to, sorry, it's not $4, it's 4 bottles. 4 bottles. And that's something that's very important to be aware of at all times. They want to know how many bottles, so our answer needs to be bottles. Okay, so just be aware of that. You are going to make mistakes. It's okay. Check it and fix it. All right, so for B, what is the cost per bottle of water? Okay, so we need per bottle. So what does per mean again? It means 1 bottle. So we need to have a mark on our number line for bottles, and that needs to be a 1. You need to know what 1 is. So let's see here. How do we make the jump from 4 to 1? It's going to be, we have to divide by 4, right? So that means we're going to take 3, and we're going to divide it by 4. Well, if we take 3 and divide it by 4, as a fraction, that's just going to be 3/4. Okay, so we can call that 3/4. But because the number line is about dollars, we need to know how much money 3/4 of a dollar is. Well, it's 3/4 of a dollar. It's the same thing as 3/4. And if it's 3/4, that's actually 75 cents, right? So instead of putting 3/4, we can put, actually we don't need the dollar sign, we can just put in 0.75. Okay, let me make this like that. There we go. 75 cents per bottle of water. So we're going to add that in. It's going to be 0.75 per bottle. Okay, so not a bad deal. Less than $1 per bottle. It's pretty good. All right, finding how much the cost is per bottle will help us find out anything else. We can find out any other amount of bottles. It doesn't matter what they want to ask us. If we know what 1 bottle is, we can find out what any other number of bottles are. So when they come here and ask us for 7 bottles, it's not going to be a problem. If this is 75 cents for 1 bottle, then we need to find out, we need to take 1 and we need to get up to 7. So in here I can put a little mark here, and I'm going to squeeze in the number 7 here. Okay, it's a little bit hard to see, but okay, 7 right there. Okay, to jump from 1 to 7, yeah, we're just going to multiply times 7. So that means we're going to multiply this times 7. So you're going to want to set this up. You're going to want to do 75 cents times 7. Okay, so 75 cents times 7. Let's go ahead and let's set that up. Actually, I left a calculator here for a reason, right? So we'll make things easier for you. 75 cents times 7. Let's go in and do that. It's going to be 0.75 times 7. There we go. 525. Okay, so it's going to be 525 for 7 bottles. Okay, that covers that. And we have one more. So number 3 says a 10-pound sack of flour costs $8. How much does 40 pounds of flour cost? Okay, so at this time, you've seen a couple of number lines here. I want to show you how you can maybe start to visualize this a little bit without actually having to take the time to make the number line. So if you look here, 10-pound sack of flour, 40 pounds of flour. Watch this. I'm just going to draw a line saying here from 10 to 40. How do we make the jump from 10 to 40? Well, we multiply it times 4. So that means we've got to multiply this times 4. What's 8 times 4? 8 times 4 is $32. Okay, $32 for 40 pounds of flour. All right, and then what is the cost per pound? Okay, so per pound is 1 pound. So this is the information for 10 pounds. To get down to 1 pound, we need to divide by 10. So we need to divide 8 by 10 as well to get the cost. So it's going to be 8 divided by 10. And 8 divided by 10, if you work that out with the calculator or by just dividing it, it's going to be 80 cents. 0.80, that's 80 cents per pound of flour. Okay, thank you.